I had a question. I just wanted to know, like, what factors made you decide you wanted to be like I think you said independent agent. I think.
Yeah, good question. So, okay, so there's two types of insurance agents when it comes to home and auto insurance. You've got a captive agent, you've got an independent agent. So a captive agent is going to be someone that works for an agent that's with State Farm, Allstate, Farm Bureau, Shelter, American Family, where when you go in there, and if you buy a policy from them, it's going to be, most likely, in most cases, it's going to be an American Family auto policy or American Family or State Farm or whoever. It's whatever company you're walking into, that's what they're going to be able to write with. There are some captive companies that have a little bit of flexibility where they can work with a Progressive or something like that. But for the most part, you're going to be buying, I know especially when I was working at a State Farm agency, if you got a policy from us, it was a State Farm auto policy or State Farm home policy. As an independent agent, what I can do is, if you come in and say I want an auto insurance quote, well, I've got at least 6 companies that I'm going to run quotes with. And so, as an independent agent, I truly have the ability to work for my clients, where if I write a policy for them, and 2 or 3 years down the road, the premium goes up, it becomes unaffordable, or maybe they get a speeding ticket or 2. I have the ability to take their information and I can run quotes again with the other insurance companies we've got, and if we can offer better coverage, lower premium, whatever it may be, I can give them options. Whereas when you're with a captive agent, there's not a lot of choices always, unless you're changing coverages or increasing deductibles, those types of things. So the reason that I wanted to go independent was because I wanted to have the freedom to run my own business, but I also wanted the freedom to be able to work for the client and to give them my best option. And sometimes my best option isn't what's best for them, and that's okay. And sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow for me, but you have to do what's in the best interest of the client always, and it'll come back, and that's just what needs to be done. So that's kind of the reason that I chose to be an independent agent, because it just gives me more freedom to be able to help clients.
Okay, other questions?
So when you started the podcast, did it go as smoothly as you planned, or were there skills that you had to acquire? Was it difficult? How did it go?
For me, it was easy. Now, part of it being easy was the first 3 interviews I did are people that are in my B&I group. And so I knew their story going in a little bit more than what other people do. And I meet with them on a weekly basis. And so I knew them on a personal level and knew about their business. And so it really was about having a conversation just back and forth. So for me, I kind of knew how I wanted it to go, and I'm able to think on the fly a little bit if I want to go off script. But up to this point, it's been really smooth. I've done some videos on Facebook just promoting, like small 2-minute clips or whatever. Nothing fancy. The podcast is really raw, and even the video that I upload to YouTube, all that stuff is pretty raw with just a little graphics from iMovie, no big deal. But for me, it's been really easy, and I've loved it. I've had a blast. It's really been a good outlet for me, and trying to build my personal brand a little bit, and but at the same time, if I get the ability to help other small business owners, that's really cool too. So.
Good questions.
I had another question.
Yeah.
So what steps did you have to take to start your podcast? Like, did you buy equipment or things like that? Like, what did you do?
So,
Caroline's asking this because she got really creative. They had to do a podcast in this class, and she got really creative with it. So,
okay.
Future podcaster, right?
That's a great question, because that was I wanted to do this for a while and I just didn't know where to start. And so this agent that I've been working with, more than anything, he gave me direction and gave me the encouragement that I needed to do it. So what I did is, and you can do it a lot of different ways. There's free services you can use, like Anchor is one of those. If you do that, from what I understand, though, Anchor owns, your podcasts. So what I did is I used Libsyn, Libsyn. I pay $15 a month, and I think I can upload, and it's based on the amount of data that you upload. I think mine's like 250 megabytes, gigs, I guess it'd be gigs, gigs. So anyway, I pay $15 a month, but then it gives me, it will send everything out to the different platforms and help me get my RSS feed and get everything done there. Equipment, I went on Amazon and I bought a Zoom H6. And the package that I got on Amazon, I think it was, I got rechargeable batteries, I got a stand to put the Zoom on, headphones, a couple other things. It was like about $360, I think. That's one thing though, looking back on it, that's one thing I would do different. I have a podcast for small business owners. I should have bought my equipment local, and I will going forward. I look back on it, and that is a mistake that I did make, that I won't make again. But part of it for me was just getting started. And once I paid for that equipment, it was like, okay, now it's go time. I've got to make this happen. I've got to do it. And so part of it for me was getting started. But anything that I buy going forward for the podcast from an equipment standpoint, and really anything else for it, will be done local. So that is one thing that I would change and would do differently. So, but really other than that, the Zoom comes with, and I brought it if you want to take a look at it. It's got microphones that you can set on there. It comes with a windshield, windguard, I can't think of the name of it, but it comes with pretty much everything that you need. And then you just upload it to Libsyn, type out what you want, and you hit publish, and it's out there. So.
Do you do editing with it?
I don't.
You don't?
I think there's editing software that you can get. I haven't got to that point yet. There'll come a point where maybe I get some sponsors, and so I do some sponsors before the actual interview. But right now it's really raw. I just upload the audio. As long as the audio sounds good, I listen to it first. If it sounds good, then I just go with it. So as far as the editing, I'm gonna have to do more research. I don't know what's there, but I just upload it. So I also record the podcast with my phone, and so I can do clips on Facebook, and then I upload the whole interview to YouTube as well, which is just one more way that people can listen to it, or however they want to, if they want to watch it, because that's just a whole different element. So. But.
Okay. Other questions for Brian? I know you guys wrote questions down.
Yeah.
I'm actually familiar with BNI, so I think it's interesting meeting someone involved with that. So you said that you pay a pretty buck to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you pay to be involved?
I think I just paid, the membership just went up a little bit. I think it was roughly about $600 for the year to be a member. I know that when you first sign up, I think they have kind of a new member, kind of a registration type. So it's a little bit more when you first sign up. And then we also have local dues. So our local chapter, we pay $75 a year. And before, since we're a morning group, we wouldn't do breakfast, but we would have coffee there every morning. We'd rent a room, things like that. So, so $600 is a lot of money, especially I joined BNI when I was 4 months into being a brand new agent on the independent side. So that was that was a pretty hefty expense considering there was no money coming in. But from a marketing standpoint, that's the best decision that I've made. Because I make, literally, it pays for itself over and over every year. So, and where you're the only, you know, if you don't join different chamber groups or other groups that you may be a part of, there may be 2 or 3 other people in your industry, and so you're having to fight for leads there. B&I's nice because I'm the only one in my industry in there, so that's nice. That answer your question?
Yeah.
Other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Okay, so if you guys would please